How is everyone doing today? Got a good tutorial here, quick tutorial hopefully, on how to get a whole WordPress installed. This is the very first step of any WordPress site, and you should know how to do this. Basically, what we're going to do is go to WordPress. Make sure you're at WordPress.org because WordPress.com is a little bit different, but once you're here, go to download WordPress and the latest version. Now, I've already downloaded a copy. Here it is in our downloads. We're basically going to push it up to our new site. So on our local, where we're putting all our files for our new website, why don't we go over to it? And I'm actually in it right now. Here's a list of all my sites. But we're going to work on Steve M Web Design, which is just a personal website I'll build out with a couple pages. I created this public underscore HTML folder because this is where we're going to carry our WordPress file that we downloaded into. So basically everything now is still on our local file, and we're going to keep it as a zip. Now going over to our cPanel, now usually you'll have this created with something like GoDaddy, HostGator, or one-on-one. You might have your hosting with us. But basically what you'll see is when you're in your cPanel, we're going to create our database and set up our FTP. So why don't we actually set up our FTP first? So our domain name here is Steve M Web Design. The IP address is going to be the FTP address, and our username and password are going to be, well, our password is what we create at our original login, and our username is going to be whichever our home directory is, which in our case here is Steve M Web Design. This is a list of our overview in WHM of all our sites. But here's our IP, our username, our URL, but then our password is whatever we created, and that we're actually going to keep to ourselves, obviously. So once we go over here, we'll go to our FTP and set this up. We have our site name, stevemwebdesign.com. Our local address where it is in our sites in the folder I've shown you. We'll go up here to our server, and now each FTP is a little bit different, but it's all pretty much the same information. So website name. FTP address, you can either use your IP address here, or you can use ftp.yoururl.com. I keep it as ftp.url.com because I find a lot of times, sometimes IPs will change due to moving sites, different servers, stuff like that. Username is the Steve M Web Design, which I showed you, and our password is our password. So I'm just going to test to make sure that all that is working. And it says it connected. So there we go. Let's save this all and click done. And basically what we find here is that we'll connect to our remote. And we see this public HTML folder. So this is the same public HTML folder that we actually showed you with our WordPress local file. So why don't we just go to locate in, and you'll see here it is again. So just to show you that in our folder, public HTML with WordPress file in it. So let's go back. What we're going to do now is actually push this WordPress file up to our hosting. So from our local view, let's go to put. And it is currently, now this is a pretty big zip file, but it's better to do this in a zip file because if you do this with all the files, it takes a lot more time to manage. So why don't we go to locate on remote server, and we will see that here under our public HTML there's a few other folders that are on the server, but here is our WordPress install. So there's one way to do this. We can either go to unzip through the FTP, or we can go back to our cPanel and do the file manager extraction through the file manager. So why don't we first create our database, and then we're going to finish up with the file manager. So going to our database when we're getting in our cPanel, and this is pretty much every website you're going to need to do this, we're just going to create a MySQL database. Oh, I logged out, darn. Hopefully that brings me right back in. It did. So I just want to make sure I'm in the right, no I'm not. So Steve, just have this load up real quick. Sorry, I must have sat there a little too long. So MySQL database, we'll just call this database and we'll create a new database. So just take note of this as they added the new name of our database. Sometimes it's a good note to maybe just create a quick document where we can do database name and keep track of it, and we'll go back and do the database password. Create new database, search database. So we have to create our new username, which we'll just do username, and we'll create our new password. And create the new user, which will be linked to our new database. So what we see here is we've created our new user in our database, and we'll go back and we're going to add our user to our database. Gosh, this time issue is causing a little bit of errors here. Okay, so it just basically went to the next stage there. So basically we just select all and go to make changes. We'll go back and just make sure that our current user and database are connected. So here it is, our database, Steve M Web Design database, Steve M Web WE score underscore. So that's basically all been connected. Let's go back now to the overview of our cPanel. Go into our file manager. We're going to go back to that WordPress file, which we actually downloaded, which should be now sitting here on the server. We're in the file manager. We're going to go to extract. Now, once we've extracted this WordPress file, what's going to happen is once we go to our URL, all these files are going to generate our installation process. So let's go ahead. Maybe I should have started that while we were talking. But we'll basically just go ahead here and create the files. So basically I've brought them here. I should have actually brought them into their own. This is a WordPress. So if we go to stevemwebdesign.com/WordPress, we should be able to see these files now. But basically, we'll want to get this on Steve M Web Design / just Steve M Web Design. So what I'm going to do real quick is just go in here and select all of these files and just go to move. And we're just going to move them into the public HTML folder as opposed to the WordPress. I'm just going to go ahead and actually delete that now because we do no longer need it. Everything's been moved and that should be good. So now let's just go back to our installation process and go to our main URL, which should launch this same installation, and here we are. Alright guys, so in our case, and probably most of the people that we are watching this video, we are going to do the English United States installation, and we'll go to Let's Go. Obviously, here's where we need to start inputting that database information that we created. So let's go back here, and hopefully we've still got our information. So database name is database name. Username is, we had this saved as user, and then our password is whatever you create, and go to submit. What happened here? And now we go through the installation. So basically our site title will be whatever our site title is, stevemwebdesign.com. We can use this strong password or create another of our own, and we'll go to info at and confirm to keep our passwords for this installation steady, and we'll go to login. And guys, now we are at the back end of our WordPress installation. What I could say is here we are, we're at the login. This is pretty familiar now, I'm pretty sure, and we are able to we are able to access the back end, which will then allow us to start to build out our website. Here we are. Here's the foundations of a WordPress site. So basically what we did there, guys, was we took everything from the download of the website, we pushed it, or download of the WordPress, we had the cPanel open, we set up the FTP, we set up the database, we then opened all the files which were pushed up to the server, connected the database, ran the installation process, and at the end of it all, we've gone from our download here to our website, which is right here. So pretty cool. I know it's a process. I know it takes some time, but really we did that in 10 minutes. So hopefully you enjoyed that tutorial. Stay tuned if you want to see more. And if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you guys. Give a like, give a subscribe. That helps too. Thank you.